El Masira is a word in Arabic. It means the journey. And it's all about going on a journey to find who Jesus is. We've been praying this morning for refugees, and I'm so glad that that's something that is on your heart, because actually refugees are going on a journey these days, and many of them are actually discovering also about Jesus through El Masira. So El Masira is a series of 13 films, each about 40 minutes long, which go through the Bible from the very first page until the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus, telling the story of Jesus and the gospel, and how that message that stretches back to the beginning of the creation of humanity to now, and is relevant just as much now as it is then. It is a series of films produced by people that don't look like you and me. They are actually people from the Middle East, where actually those stories first originated. So Egyptians and Moroccans and Algerians and Lebanese and Iraqis and Sudanese, telling the story of the gospel in their own language, Arabic. And these are nations that have been quite resistant to the gospel, but the Lord is starting to open in the time that we live in now. And so many of the refugees that are coming to our country are actually open to the gospel in a way they weren't 5, 10, 15, 100 years ago. So there's something about El Masira. You use it a bit like the Alpha Course. So you watch it with friends, eat a bit of food, watch some film, then have a discussion. And these films are designed to answer the hardest questions that come up from that part of the world, such as, how can you believe that God is one and three at the same time? How can you believe that God would allow one of his prophets to be crucified? Those kind of questions that actually we find quite difficult to answer when we pose those questions. I don't know if that helps.
Thank you very much. Could I ask you about the specific project that you've asked us to support, and why this is so important for the work you're doing?
Yeah, so the three possible areas that you could help us. And the first is the development of an app. Now, I'm sure that you are all avid app users here in this congregation, but let me tell you that across most of the world, this is how people read, this is how people watch TV or films or whatever. And so we have been the last year developing an El Masira app that will work in many, many languages, through which people can see the films, they can look at all the discussion questions, they can check the Bible references, they can read the scriptures, and they can then share these things with their friends. So that's project number one. Shall I talk about the other ones?
Please.
Okay. We have, like you, I imagine, been impacted by what's happening in Afghanistan, especially this last few months. And we've been praying as an El Masira team, how can we help? What can we do to help? And the Lord's been encouraging us to get El Masira into the Pashto and Dari languages, which are the two main languages of Afghanistan. El Masira is in about 35 languages already. But we believe that the Lord is going to be doing a big work amongst the Afghan people. Already, the Afghan church is the second fastest growing church in the world, according to Patrick Johnson of Operation World. That should make us shocked to hear that. Already that is the case amongst Afghans inside Afghanistan and the diaspora of Afghans living elsewhere. And so we are putting El Masira into the two languages. The Lord's already in the last month provided enough money for the Pashto, and we're also raising for the Dari language, which is the second language of Afghanistan. I think is that enough?